Okay, let's go. Now, it's been a week, and this project here has been taking far too long. I did not want this to be a project that took the entire summer, but it has, and remember, this is just a blueprint. Actually, we are making the recipe to do two more cab forwards, which are over there on the bench over there in plastic bags, just with nothing but parts. You remember this guy here that we scavenged off a train show for like $5, who's missing a bunch of parts. We've had to reverse engineer all along the way, and now I think we have kind of a breakthrough. I thought we had one the other day, and the reason I thought that is because of this. Okay, I figured out how to get power the correct way to at least one PC board. All right, and if you can see here very carefully, this time I've got one wiper on that rear axle. All right, that's the best I can do on this. So there are two of these, so I can get another one on this guy. And we'll put another one right there on this guy. It's going to be tricky because this hanger here is an integral part of keeping the truck into the frame, which is right here. All right. We'll get to that part sometime later. Now, what I've done here is, remember, there's no platform for this guy. No platform at all. When I told you before, when whoever had this, they attempted to reverse it and make it a regular steam locomotive with the cab on the rear of the boiler pointing to the front. But this is a cab forward. The cab is on the front and the boiler is to the rear. So what I finally figured out, and if you remember last time, I put on here a set of wipers onto this side, and it turns out I couldn't figure it out with the multimeter. It would get power and everything, but that's because, and I've got a big boy. I've got the big boy here. Here's Troy's big boy. Okay, now we know this guy he can go under his own power. It means he picks up from both rails. But the cab forward, for some reason, it doesn't do that. So I had this PC board in here. Where's that guy? And he had two pieces on him. Anyways, he picked up from both these two right there. That doesn't work because the power's all picked up on the red rail because it's in reverse. It's in reverse. If it was this guy, that would be on the black rail over here. Here's the right rail, here's the left rail. The red wire, the black wire. Like a car in DC, that's how they work. If, and remember, this is if it does this. Okay? There's a big boy right there. He is facing forward. Down here, I've got the old Tech 2, and I've already got him dialed up to max power. If I put the big boy on there, he runs under his own power. He does not need the tender to run. Now, there's a reason why I got max power on there, and I'll show you in a second. He runs under his own power. He doesn't need his tender. But the cab forward is not like that. Here's the cab forward, and right here is where the cab goes. Where we're going to end up ultimately, we are going to be building a superstructure, and as you know, this is probably going to be a Champion City special. So we're going to use a face ripper. That face ripper is going to sit right there. We'll get them in place, and we can design whatever we need to design to make a sweet superstructure. All right, but here's the thing. We got to get power to them. And it can't be just power from one rail to the next. It's got to be power from both of these guys. So I'm only getting power for the black rail side from one one wiper on this truck. If I can get another one from this truck, that should be enough. And I was all set to do this, because as you can see, I have created what I do believe is possibly a thing for, here is a real cab forward. The platform on the back is these beams that come out, and they are not attached to, and here's the crossbar, and here is the front truck. None of those are attached to this. Okay, so this thing is attached to this, and that's, it took me a long time to figure out, to get measurements and everything to attach them, because remember, we had to do this. Remember when we had to do this? I know you guys told me this is not the right cylinder, and as you can see, it is definitely not the right cylinder. We may dress it up later, or we may paint it, but now here's the problem. We got this on here and everything. We got our superstructure kind of in place so we can start beefing it up. And these guys are still in brass. I don't see any way where we're going to be like spray painting this or airbrushing it or nothing. This is going to have to be a brush paint. And I'm not sure what that's going to look like until we get it working. But here's one thing I do know, is that we did this based on that. And here is the platform in styrene. And, okay, got a little surprise. You know what I'm going to use on top? If I can. I don't know if this is going to work. But I'm going to try some of this mosquito mesh as the tread. If this actually does what it says it does on here, this could be a staple of a lot of our builds, especially on diesels. We'll find out. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to use it on screens for all my windows. So that's not really important. But what is important is I've got the platform now. Got a platform. So this guy here is our rear guy. So I've got a platform for here. And just a little shaping and you'll be good to go. But here's the problem now. It's not that big of a problem, but it is a problem. We're going to deal with it. Is that right there. Is this right here. Okay, watch carefully as I slide the coupler gauge underneath. Okay, that is a problem. But, as you know, we've got styrene. Those are styrene arms. Right, we got styrene. We have one last final piece of this. I was going to use this, but I don't have any more. I got to go find some more. That's not really the problem. The problem is this. Let's bring her down here. Okay, now, here's the real problem. The problem is that, as you can see over there, we solved the problem of a tender. Not the tender, just a tender. And if we do, since I'm not really a steam guy, if I do all the steam stuff I have with the tender, here's that one tender that used to be painted Conrail blue. If I solve them and do this, then I'll end up with a pad right there. They'll have Katy couplers. That pad right there is going to be used for a connector instead of the drawbar. Instead of something like this. Let's see who's got a drawbar. This guy. Here's a drawbar. So here's a drawbar. Okay, we're not going to be doing this between the tender and the locomotive. I don't want that. What if I've got other tenders, which I do? And if this guy here is going to be a feature of our layout, which it is, I want multiple tenders. So I got to do Katy couplers. And this tender is all set up, got Katy couplers, finally figured out power. Power's good to go. what we have to do is, and I thought I was ready to do this the other day. Yeah, okay, so basically, we don't need the multimeter. Basically, there's power here. And I can add some stuff to this guy if I want to do lights and stuff. I've already got queued up a bridge rectifier, a 25 volt capacitor, a 1K resistor. We can do the lights on this guy in any way we want to now. Now the barrel light that comes with it, that one we can't do. The reason is the one I have, the light, the lens is super glued to the housing, and I haven't figured out any way to get it off yet. That's not the thing though. We can do lights. We'll do lights. What is important is I was already ready to go with my new JST connector kit, because as I've told you many times before, using the JST connectors, I've had to shave off on the connectors. Okay, apparently the multimeter needs a new battery. I've had to shave off these guys here. Once they lock in place, they really lock. Where's our guy over here? He's over here, it doesn't matter. Once these, so I'm going to use a tube hanger, because all we need is a red and a black, and you connect up and you lock them into here, and they really lock. And here is the pieces where you can put on your own wire, and we want our nice flexible silicone wire, unlike all the JST connectors we bought in the past, which come with a very stiff wire. We don't want a stiff wire. We need a very flexible wire, just like we're using right there. See, that's a very flexible wire. Now, if you guys want to know, you must know. I will show you right now. Okay. Up there on the ceiling, that's where I put those rolls of wire so I can pull them down. And when they run out, and I replace them. I've got another box of replacement wires. That's how I keep them. All right, let's go back to here. So what we want to do, so I was thinking that here's what I was going to do. I was going to put a JST right here, and then have the wires go to this pad right here, and then up into here. And it's easy because there's a hole right here on the front. So to bring those wires up here and put, even though you got to put in these differentials that go like this, we could put a pad right here. So you got differentials in there. We could put a pad right here and get the power up from this pad to another pad. I was like, oh my goodness, when this thing is originally wired, how in the heck are we going to get power up, especially from this guy? Dang, this guy here, we got to get power from him. And he picks up power from red rail only. Turns out that we got to put a guy back there, like this. We'll put this guy, and he will have a wiper on this one wheel. So we will only have 2-wheel black wire pickup. And that's where the tender comes in. This tender is not probably the real tender, but we're going to make it a standard tender. So across all steam tenders and locomotives we have, we're going to run red and black with connectors. So as I was preparing to do what I hate is JST connectors somewhere around here, I was just talking on the phone to a guy, and I say, okay, I'm going to do JST connectors, and then I get a notice in the mail. Package has been delivered. DuPont connectors, which I didn't have, and if you're not sure what these guys are, DuPont connectors are way easier. I already got the tool. The tool's the same, between JSTs and DuPonts. But the DuPont connectors do not lock. And that means we're going to be able to run this across. And they're these guys. I haven't even opened this yet. But if you've ever been in a computer and you see those little black connectors that go on these pins, or if you're doing Arduino, on Arduino, you generally use DuPont connectors. They don't lock when that's what we want. JSTs lock, and then when it's time to do maintenance, unlocking them can wreck stuff. So the DuPont connectors came, and then everything changed. So that's where we're at. Okay, this is wiring number 1. We've got a tender that we're going to make standard with KD couplers. It's going to be standardized. We've got a front truck. Now there's another guy goes on here to one of the screws. He goes on here underneath. It doesn't matter. We got a front truck that is wired, ready, but that's not enough for the power that we need. We've got a rear, not a rear. It's cab forward. I don't even know if it's rear or front or whatever. We got this guy. He's going to get the same treatment as the one we've already done. And we might even be able to get something from back here. Whatever it is, we'll get some black rail power here. So our cab forward can move unassisted without a tender. But when you plug the tender in, what you will get is another set of pickups for power. And this isn't the greatest guy because he only picks up power from 2 wheels on the black rail. This guy picks up from 1, that picks up from 1. Oh no, this guy picks up from 1. Okay, only 1. So we don't have a ton of power yet. But we're going to work on that. If we do this guy on one of our other tenders that has, well, I've got 2 tenders that have, each truck it's kind of like a Buckeye truck, except instead of 3, it's got 4. And that one comes with power pickup. That, I think, we're gonna standardize it so that it can be used. It could be used if we had to. But we've got some other tenders over there with just plain Buckeye trucks or 3. And then we got one extra big boy truck. That sucker's got like I don't even know how many. It's got a lot of axles. So what we can do then is we will standardize all trucks for all locomotives. And you know that one guy. You know the one guy with the story. Alright, let's bring him back. Okay. We got that one guy. Here he is. There he is, right there. Okay, we got this guy. His story can be told if we standardize this tender. You know his story, right? He is a locomotive that got scavenged from some static museum display somewhere, somehow. They took him and they got him and they found a way to use him. And he does a route that no other locomotive can go. But that is a story for Champion City. All right. So next up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to finish off. We're going to start beefing that guy up for couplers. He's going to get couplers. And we remount his 2-axle, or his 1-axle guy right here. We'll remount that guy. But then we will take that guy right there. We'll get him wired up. And then we're going to attempt a test under real power using the face ripper motor. And it's steam engine, so the face ripper is the appropriate one because it only has one shaft. That's what we got to do. Face ripper versus cab forward should be quite amazing.